Right, let's get in Lisa Curtis, woman who knows, someone who knows this entire region very well. Lisa Curtis has a very keen interest and also an expert in knowing this entire region very well. Lisa, let me start with you. Your first thoughts, or rather expectations, about the upcoming bilateral meeting between President Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Modi. How optimistic are you that this could actually move beyond just photo ops to something concrete in terms of taking the relationship forward?
Well, I think the significance of Modi's visit to China for the SCO meetings is because of the deterioration in the U.S.-India relationship. I think all eyes are watching, what's happening between India and China because of President Trump's criticisms of India, the 50% tariffs that he has levied now on India, which will be, quite devastating, I think, for the Indian economy. So there's a real crisis in the U.S.-India relationship. And so people are going to be watching, what does this mean for India's approach to China? And I think what it means is that India will be forced to accommodate China. And, we look at the first Trump administration where the goal was really to work more closely with China, to work more closely with India, to be able to manage China's rise. Now, in the second Trump administration, what President Trump is doing is alienating India and forcing India to accommodate China. And I think we're going to see that at this SCO meeting on Sunday.
Okay, but Lisa, let me then ask you in terms of most feasible outcomes. There's a lot of ground to cover. There's a lot of difference of opinion, and there are also completely different perspectives. Trade is important. You said Donald Trump is forcing. Of course, Donald Trump's rhetoric will be important, but India cannot completely ignore its national security and defense concerns. In your assessment, what could be the most feasible set of outcomes that you think will come out of the summit and out of the bilateral that's expected between the two leaders?
Well, I think that there could be an agreement to, open the Indian economy more to China. This has been something that China wants, making travel easier for businessmen who want to, come to India, look at investment, more trade. So we may see some announcements on the economic and trade front. But I think it's important to note that India still likely sees China as a strategic adversary because of what happened in the 2020 border crisis. And things are not completely fine on the disputed border between India and China. There are still tensions there, and there's still a chance that things could escalate again on that border. So I think that, yes, India is, being forced to accommodate China more. We'll probably see some announcements on the economy, on trade, on travel, and, an overall reduction in India-China tensions. But that doesn't mean that India now trusts China or, wants to, get closer with China and try to, attend a India-China-Russia trilateral meeting. I don't think India will go that far. But the fact that India is even considering a trilateral meeting with Russia and China should be alarming to U.S. policymakers.
So there may not be a Russia-India-China trilateral, or RIC is being talked about, but the entire optics around India and Russian oil purchase is likely to feature, isn't it? Because that's really the premise of Donald Trump's rhetoric. It's incorrect, it's irresponsible, it's hypocritical. We've been saying that. But it's how important do you think that is going to be in these talks that Prime Minister Modi will have with President Putin?
Well, I'm not sure I see the issue of Russian oil being a major talking point for India. Of course, Russia may raise it, China may raise it, but I think India has reduced its dependence on Russian oil over the last month or so. At least the state-owned oil companies have done so. And the hope is that India will continue to move in that direction because I think that would help reduce tensions between the U.S. and India. So my sense is I think India would be rather careful when it comes to the Russian oil issue, because if that becomes a major talking point among the leaders at the SCO, including India, that countries should be able to continue their imports of Russian oil, that is really going to irritate President Trump even more, and could presage even a further deterioration if it can deteriorate any further between India and the U.S.
All right, Lisa Curtis, appreciate you joining me live on India Ascents ahead of the crucial SCO summit right here in Tianjin that we have been covering. We will continue to get you all details and updates on that. Well, viewers, one thing is for certain, that this summit will have an impact in terms of major political realignments in the world. Whether Russian oil is going to feature or not remains to be seen. But the implications of that are most likely to be talked about in the two key bilaterals that Prime Minister Modi will have with his Chinese and Russian counterparts.